So there are a few key things to focus on for P2. On drop, make sure that you use Ice Rush instead of Barrage, so that the spell actually works. Barrage lands instantly, and Telos is immune at the start of the phase, so it won't actually hit him. This is also why you should use slow hitting abilities on phase entries, because if you start with something like a D-Breath, then it also won't work. And the goal of P2 is to phase Telos before Hold Still, and to not use any food. Good stun locking will reduce the number of specs he does, and timing your ice spells correctly will force him to mage you, which will let you avoid eating. Finally, a big part of P2 is Vitality Venging. On the 3 hits that you get after your first stun set, you want to take a melee hit, and these can hit up to 15k without prayer, but with Vitality Power Bursts you can tank it when you're sitting on 22k HP, and this will Venge Telos a maximum of 8.8k, and it really helps with speeding up this part of the kill. So once you finish Tendrils on P1, you should Bladed Dive Surge into the northeast corner, and on drop, Telos is immune to damage just at the very start. So what you want to do is Barrage hits instantly, so if you use an Ice Rush spell with manual spellcasting on, it'll do the same damage as Ice Blitz, but it'll hit 1 tick later, so it will actually deal damage to Telos. So you want to use Ice Rush with Corrupt, and Vuln Bomb Telos just at the start. So that instantly breaks his freedom, since he hasn't broken his freedom in over 10 seconds. And then I'll put on my Inquisitor Staff and do a auto into dual wield 3-hit Asphyx. Walk forward 1 square and Deep Impact. So walking forwards the 1 square and then escaping puts me at an even amount of squares away from Telos. So now when he's walking towards me, he won't walk over me, since NPCs usually walk at 2 squares at a time. So I Venge here, and then Blood Impact, walk forwards, and then walk under him with Combust. So the Venge is actually a bigger part of this phase than you might think. So as I mentioned before, this is where the Vitality Potion comes in. So you Vitality to double your HP. You should do it on the same tick that you Ice Wild Magic, because then it will last for all 3 hits. So he hits me, and it deals an 8k Venge. At a max hit, it can deal up to 8.8k. So this is a really huge ability, basically. So this just deals a decent amount of damage. Since he hit me on the first one, and I've frozen him in place from the Ice Wild Magic, I'm going to escape, and he's going to start maging me now. If I hadn't Ice Wild Magic, he'd start running towards me. So that's why this part of the phase is so important, because keeping your stuns in time with your ices means that you can force mage hits, and you won't really have to use any food if you soul split correctly. So go straight into a D-Breath, and then Blood G Staff, and go into Detonate. So when you release this Detonate here, you're releasing it with Ice and Corrupt, and he'll free just before the ice lands. So this ice actually freezes him again just after he breaks his freedom. So it's really well coordinated with how he's never really going to be meleeing you if you're timing this all correctly. So the ice that lands here freezes him in place again. I'm just moving closer towards the jump spot for the next phase, but that's not like a necessary thing you need to do at that time. You just need to sort of edge your way closer towards the jump spot. So after Corrupt, I use Rack, and then go into an auto 2-hit Asphyx. If it's high HP, you can do a 3-hit Asphyx, but the timing's just going to be a little bit off. And then go into Rack, D-Breath, and he's going to break his freedom here. So auto impact, deep impact, and then Rack. And notice I didn't 4-tick that Rack just then, and that's because I actually want the Adrem for the next phase. If you 4-tick that ability there, he's going to jump before you can cast your next ability. So you see here I only just managed to cast Sonic. So if I was 1 tick later to doing that from 4-ticking before, then I won't have that extra ability to give me the Adrem for the next phase, even though it's already at the 300k phase limit. So then jump down into the next phase. And that's the end of P2. If you do get a really quick phase, then what you can do is you can skip the fix. You can just sort of tell after you finish your Detto, and then you can just do auto debreath after your rack. When Vitality Venging, just make sure you take the melee hit before you escape, so that you can reflect as much damage as possible. If you power burst too early, then you'll drop HP before the third hit, and he'll almost always kill you. Thanks for watching my guide on P2 Telos. It took me a while to get around to making it, but it's better late than never, I guess. So I'll work on a P3 guide soon enough.